I hope you're ready for some more Steam arcade racing recommendations. There's a lot of arcade racing games on Steam and I can't possibly fit them all into this video. So if I'm missing something you want to see, leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to include it in the next installment of this series. And if you want more recommendations, give my Steam Curator page a follow. There's a lot more games there for you to discover and you'll be able to see what's on sale at a glance. Pretty handy, I think. Before we move on, I'd love it if you could please like, share and subscribe. And if you really enjoy my content, then also please consider becoming a channel member. No pressure, don't feel obligated. Back to the video. There is one game in this list that I personally don't recommend, but it has many fans and is a love it or hate it kind of thing. So I've included it regardless. And as always, everything here was captured on my Asus ROG Ally X. If you're after games perfect for your handheld PC, look no further. Anywho, we've got 18 games to get through this time around, so settle in and we'll get started. Gravel copped some flack at release and I never understood why. It's a super fun arcadey racer that was put down by most seemingly because it just wasn't a sim. I also never got the criticism of the graphics. Gravel is gorgeous. Granted, I can't really do the game justice here on the ROG Ally X because despite the game's age, it is a heavy one. Still, it looks plenty nice when playing in handheld mode. Gravel is an arcade racer through and through. It's accessible with a metric ton of content. Regular races, checkpoint races, and much more besides. Control is divine. With assists you can toggle as you see fit. I personally turn them all off and still find it super satisfying in that arcade kind of way. I can say wheel support for this is brilliant too. I'd recommend you give it a crack if you've got the means, but gamepad control is perfect also. Gravel is a much better game than the reviews and reputation would have you believe. I've pumped loads of time into it, even beyond completion, so if you're after something like Dirt, but even more fun in my opinion, jump on it. It's always on sale dirt cheap and grab all the DLC you can. It's got a slew of post-launch content adding even more cars, tracks and events. Gravel is like fine wine and is even better than it was on the day of its release. It's a shame the developers of Fast Beat Loop Racer GT balked this port of a super obscure coin-op racer so badly. There's a brilliant Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune-like game here, but my recommendation comes with provisos, so I'll get them out of the way quick. Firstly, lock the game to 60 frames per second if you've got a high refresh rate monitor. Anything higher and it runs way too fast. Secondly, it tops out at 1080p. If your monitor's above that, it runs in a window and you'll need third-party software for borderless full screen. I personally use AMD software to mitigate this issue. Jump through those hoops, however, and you've got an amazing arcade racing experience unlike any other on the Steam store. This is a true coin-op racer ported over, and besides the follow-up, which I'll get to shortly, it stands alone. Choose from 10 real-life cars and play through 48 races in 7 chapters set across 4 cities. There's a story in the grand tradition of Initial D and Wangan Midnight, with each race pitting you against rivals who like to indulge in trash talk. It's all very anime and engaging stuff all round. Car customizations here too. You win stat points by winning races, and you can distribute them into the speed, handling and drafting abilities of your vehicle. Drafting is the key to winning, so strategy matters in the points you spend. There's livery unlocks too, so you've got some control over the aesthetics of your car. The steering here is quite sensitive and hasn't been tuned at all for a controller or wheel. Dead zones are rather large, but tweaking things via Steam input makes it manageable. A disappointing port of a fantastic game then, but if you're willing to put a bit of work into getting it to play nice, you are in for a treat. Fast Beat Battle Rider is the follow-up to Fast Beat Loop Racer GT, and thankfully this is a better port. It still tops out at 1080p, but there's no weird window shenanigans going on. Controls have also been improved, so sensitivity is bang on this time around. It follows the exact same structure as the previous game, so again it's basically Wangan Midnight Maximum tune, but with bikes. Fast Beat Battle Rider features 36 races spread across 6 cities, and just like Fast Beat Loop Racer GT, there are 10 real-world bikes here to select from. And again, you'll be able to customize their stats and appearance, on top of being able to kit out your rider with a different look as you see fit. Unlock more options as you win and progress. It's all super addictive stuff. In all honesty, I actually prefer this one to Fast Beat Loop Racer GT. The graphics get a nice little bump up in detail, course design is a little more complex, and the gameplay is divine. I love the extra character that the riders provide too. There's an energy here that feels a little more polished and refined, and I dig it. Highly recommended if you can handle some porting jank, just like its predecessor.
Three, two, one, go.
Rainy Day Racer is a little known coin-op style game with fantastic gameplay and a wholly unique vibe. Though light on content with 4 cars and 3 tracks, it'll keep you coming back like older races such as Sega Rally and Ridge Racer. Yep, the closest analogue is Ridge Racer. This is an on-rails guided drift kind of game, and I love it for it. The Scottish setting is completely and utterly unique to Rainy Day Racer. With Scotland done in that PlayStation low poly aesthetic, it's something I didn't know I wanted until I played it. This game is moody. You race only to the sound of your car and the relentless rain. It totally sucks you in and puts you in the zone. I choose the Cockpit cam to play in. There is a third-person view, but Rainy Day Racer has a sharp sense of humour. It's offset slightly for no reason at all. I dig that, but I think the game plays best behind the wheel. Online leaderboards feature here and will keep you coming back again and again. In fact, there's some healthy leaderboard competition going on right now on social media with some indie developers quite enamoured with the game and posting their best times. It's great to see Rainy Day Racer finally getting the recognition it deserves some 7 years on from release. Try it for yourself. If you dig Ridge Racer and are open to the Scottish setting, you won't regret it. So Crash Drive 3 isn't worth the normal Aussie $29.50 asking price. On sale, however, grab it. If you can stomach the frankly unreal amount of frame pacing issues, then there's a lot here for you to do. Crash Drive 3 is an open arena driving game where every 30 seconds or so, you'll get a task to complete. Be it races, collectathons, destroying beach balls, or numerous other things, the game gives you a lot to do. Maps are littered with ramps, and not only does tricking off them gain you boost, it also nabs you cash. Very handy for buying vehicles and upgrades, and also unlocking other maps to play on. Multiplayer is the focus here, and you'll find yourself battling it out with randos online. There is an offline mode, and I do often choose this option just to chill to. But the Crash Drive games are among the only multiplayer games I'll willingly play. It's a lot of harmless fun, and it's cross-platform too. Control is fine and quite satisfying. You'll have to contend with some pretty janky camera work though, and combined with those frame pacing issues I mentioned earlier, it's definitely not ideal. But for a few bucks on sale, I'd recommend it. The LIX in handheld mode is my preferred way to play, and the visual quirks aren't so bad when played on a smaller screen, and VSync is shelved in favour of a variable refresh rate. Even with its quirks, Crash Drive 3 is just straight up fun and hard to put down. Crumple Zone is a neat but sadly obscure destruction derby alike that I sincerely hope more people jump into after today. The game is a mix of race and derby events that will sink its claws into you if you let it. The presentation is clean and effective. It won't blow you away, but everything is super vibrant and easy to read. Control is fantastic. I really love the driving in Crumple Zone. The cars feel great, drifting is satisfying, and the collisions can be wild, just like you'd expect them to be. There's arcade mode, a story mode to work your way through, race and derby events, and 2-player split screen on offer. A decent amount of variety then. Track design is top notch, and the derby mode contains some fantastic arenas to battle it out in. Counts are quite low, with 5 tracks, 4 arenas and 4 vehicles that you can customise the look of. But the game is quite cheap regardless, and on sale it's an even better value proposition. A killer 90s electronica soundtrack rounds out the package, with some fantastic tunes to race to. You do well picking this one up. It's a bit of a hidden gem. Inertial Drift is an absurdly ambitious game that I feel is only now starting to have a knock-on effect in other games with its unique take on arcade racing gameplay. This is a twin-stick racer. You basically veer with the left stick while the right stick controls the angle of your drift. Milestone's upcoming Screamer reboot seems to have adopted this control method, and it remains to be seen how much it simplifies what is here in Inertial Drift, because every car here has utterly unique handling, and initiating a drift or exiting one takes a different approach depending on the car you've chosen. Each car is a puzzle to work out, and once you've done it and it clicks, it is awesome. I've only really worked out the first 3 or 4 personally, so I've got a lot to discover in the game yet when it comes to the roster. This is a racer that offers up a unique take on the Initial D formula. There are 20 circuits and point-to-point tracks, and a total of 16 cars in the base game, and the Twilight Rivals DLC adds another 4 to the count of each of those. And these courses are meticulously designed. Seriously, in my opinion, it's some of the best in the business. The locales are varied, and I love the carefully considered colour schemes of each one. Twilight Rivals also brings along with it some fantastic Eurobeat tracks that really amp up the atmosphere. The only thing I'm not too keen on is the character art. It's got that typical Western, not quite anime look that I find off-putting. Inertial Drift dares to be different and is an ambitious, unsung hero of the arcade racing genre. The rewards are there for anybody willing to take up the challenge, and let me tell you, nailing those corners, superb. Beware the wolf in sheep's clothing. Hotshot Racing may look like it has a heart of gold, but I'm here to tell you that what beats in his chest is pure evil. I'm including Hotshot Racing not because I personally recommend the game, but more because I know it's different strokes for different folks. This game has its fans, that's for absolute sure, but I'm definitely not one of them. I backed the game on Kickstarter when it was originally called Racing Apex, and at that time it was supposed to be a blend of car combat and racing. The Kickstarter was cancelled and Sumo Digital was brought into the mix to help develop the game, and in the process the combat aspect was dropped, which was fine by me, but I don't think that the racing aspect was given the attention it needed in the right areas. So I played through Hotshot Racing on Switch and double dipped on PC. And there's some positives here. The game has amazing racing physics, and the cars are truly fun to drive. The visuals too are brilliant, and you can't knock the overall presentation. The sunny vibes go a long way toward making it feel like the arcade racing resurrection you've always wanted, and I thought it was exactly that for a while. The amount of content isn't in question, with a Grand Prix mode, bomb tag mode, time trial, single race and multiplayer to experience the game's 20 courses and 32 cars in. Where the game utterly falls apart for me is in some lackluster course design, but mostly it's down to the horrific AI. A karting game masquerading as a racer, it seems that Sumo Digital just ported over their Sonic and All-Stars Racing transformed AI model over and called it a day. You always race in a pack. No matter how well you drive or how tactically you use your boosts, it's all for naught. Earning a lead means nothing and the AI will always catch up to you. Not only that, they're obnoxiously aggressive. It's tiring being constantly rammed and jostled, and made all the more irritating by the wonky collision physics. You could take a chance on it during a sale, and indeed may very well find you like, or even love Hotshot Racing. Just be sure to make use of Steam's refund policy should you need it. Don't say I didn't warn you. REDOUT 2 is a killer anti-gravity racer that is a big step up over the first game. I didn't have many issues with the first REDOUT, but I found that control wasn't as tight as I'd have liked, with cornering being particularly problematic. That's fixed here in the sequel, which is basically F-Zero crossed with Wipeout. The F-Zero influence comes into play with the course design, and Wipeout is where REDOUT gets its control scheme from. You'll be strafing, the equivalent to air brakes, into tighter corners, with the game emphasizing pitching your ship up and down on all the inclines and declines of a track. This is all now done with the right stick, and the dual analog control scheme works a treat. It's hard to see here, but REDOUT 2 is a stunning game. The ROG Ally X can't really do it justice when blown up full screen, but in handheld mode, I have no complaints. It looks fantastic. The soundtrack is brilliant too, with a deft mix of psytrance, drum and bass, and high-energy electronica tracks that echo the first game with a winning ethnic flavour. With 200 events taking place on 27 tracks and spread across 9 locales, REDOUT 2 has a lot of variety in its content, and I'm yet to fully work through it myself. I tried to get into it a while back via the Epic Store, but I experienced a lot of crashes during the tutorial races that stopped me from progressing. I've had no such issues with the Steam version at all. Vibey, challenging and well made. REDOUT 2 comes highly recommended. I really enjoyed the first Hot Wheels Unleashed game, but found that the track design could get convoluted and confusing later on in the game, and there was something off about the gravity of the vehicles. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged fixes all of this, and then some. Drifting is much improved here, and the cars feel like they've got a bit more gravity holding them down, so it's a lot more refined in that regard. The courses have also gotten a shot in the arm, and are now much easier to pass and fun to race on. The main campaign mode is where the bulk of your time will likely be spent. You make your way across a world map and take on different events with regular races, drift challenges, time trials, boss fights, and more. Other modes include online play and a track creator, but I haven't touched these myself. Be warned that the game features an insane amount of DLC, including 2 season passes that add new arenas and vehicles. But on sale, it's worth grabbing it all for the sheer amount of extra content it adds. I can't really fault Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. It's a great example of a modern arcade racer done right. Turbo Sliders Unlimited is a fantastic little indie racer that has something for everybody. I'm quite partial to the peace and quiet of the time trial modes, and the race modes are fun too, but I've got a feeling that what you're after may look a little something like this. The game is bonkers. There is so much here that I really cannot do it justice in a video like this. The online play is robust and features support for up to 20 races at a time. The game contains a whole bunch of pre-made courses, but this can be bolted by the insane amount of user-generated content too. And this content isn't limited to just new tracks either, but features entirely new play modes with their own custom rules and everything. Virtually everything in the game can be customized. It's wild and slightly overwhelming if I'm honest. What I can touch on is the gameplay. The control in the game is brilliant, with vehicle control that ranges from no drift to the driftiest. The driftiest variety are my favourites, no surprises there. Turbo Sliders Unlimited is a game that could only exist in this day and age. It's a value proposition like no other, includes everything it possibly can and throws in the kitchen sink to boot. I highly recommend you give this one a go. There's nothing out there quite like it. Super WODEN GP2 is an arcade isometric racer in the vein of Neo Driftout, but with the game structure of Gran Turismo. This is no sim, however, and will indeed bring to mind all those great retro races of the past, It just does so in a package that offers up many more ways to experience it. There's a lot of content here. From the career mode to the arcade rally mode, I've got nothing but praise for Super WODEN GP2. First off, the driving here is brilliant. Weighty but deeply satisfying. Control is all digital, but I like the precision that it offers. I could have done with an in-game button remap option, however. Track design is also a highlight, with instantly memorable tracks and courses that have some serious replay value. With 180 upgradable vehicles from 9 manufacturers to choose from, each driving discipline is represented here, with a staggering amount of different races and challenges to play. I'm really fond of the unique look that Super WODEN GP2 has. It's vibrant, easy to read and performs well. The music too is infectious and it really suits the racing to a T. You can't go wrong with Super WODEN GP2. If you're looking for a vast career mode that will keep you busy for an age, then look no further.
Medium ride. Easy ride. Very long ride. Easy ride. Easy left. Easy ride. Finish.
Consider taking the Joker on the first lap.
Ready, 3, 2, 1, go!
Sticking with the isometric racer theme, we come to SUPERSPEC Rallycross. This is a gem, and although it doesn't have an inordinate amount of content, it's just enough to keep you occupied for a decent amount of time. It's especially fantastic if you choose to play handheld. The structure of the game is suited to shorter bursts of play. The standout feature here really is the gameplay. SUPERSPEC Rallycross features some of the best top-down racing controls out there. Cars handle just brilliantly, and the amount of control you have over your throttle and cornering really sets it apart. The drifting feels bang on, and you really feel the difference between all of the different road surfaces. Course design is great too. Each of the 20 tracks features a Joker lap, which needs to be taken once and once only during a race. They can be shorter or longer, so you'll have to take them strategically. Take it twice and you'll lose the Joker bonus you receive at the end of a race. The Grand Prix mode is where you'll unlock the majority of the game's vehicles, and they're all based on real-life makes. I think you'll agree, they look kind of adorable. There's also single race, time trials and 4-player split screen mode, making it a good fit for those who want some couch co-op action. SUPERSPEC Rallycross isn't the deepest, longest lasting racer out there, but it is immaculately executed and immediately gratifying. And there's something to be said for bite-sized races like this that you can knock over in a few extremely enjoyable hours.
Great finish.
The first thing that wows is Galaxy Drift's presentation. This is the 90s pre-rendered aesthetic done right. It's a true joy just to ogle at the courses and admire all the fine little details they contain. The same goes for the ships. They're authentically rendered and contain many frames of rotation animation. Excellent stuff. What we've got here is a take on the F-Zero formula, but again from an isometric perspective. We've got 8 pilots with their own ships, 9 tracks split into 3 race cups, 2-player split-screen multiplayer and online leaderboards. The game is lean, but the learning curve and level of challenge will keep you from flying through all the game has to offer too quickly. I really like the controls here. It's mostly super tight, but I feel the game would benefit from full analog control. The drifting mechanic is also neat, but it lacks animation details that let you visually gauge your drift. It feels a little rough, and a little TLC spent on these details could really bring it in line. Still, I've really enjoyed my time with Galaxy Drift, and I'm eager to go for those higher difficulties, if I don't chicken out first. Here we are in 2025 and the king of highway battling has returned. All the footage you're seeing here is from the beginning of the game. During the early access phase, Tokyo Xtreme Racer was subject to a BP reset, the battle points you earn and spend on upgrades in the game. And I completely blew mine without even thinking about it, leaving me stuck. So I've started over, which is fine since one of life's greatest joys is starting any Tokyo Xtreme Racer game over. If you've never played the game before, then a quick summary of what to expect. Pick your car, cruise the highways of Tokyo, and flash your lights at rival racers to challenge them to a race battle right there and then. The more races you beat, the more section of highway you'll unlock, and along the way you'll discover parking garages with even more races to take on. It's a gameplay loop that is almost entirely unique to this series, and will hook you as hard and fast as any action RPG out there. And Tokyo Xtreme Racer definitely has elements of an action RPG to it. There's skill trees, upgrades and customization, all in service of climbing that ladder, defeating team leaders and bosses, and becoming unstoppable. I love this series. I played most of the Shotoku Battle games, including the early SNES and Saturn games, but I really dove into the series on the Sega Dreamcast and Xbox 360. What Genki have done with this latest game is nothing short of remarkable. They have managed to keep the spirit of the series intact, modernize it, and not bow to the pressure of adding online multiplayer or anything slightly resembling the modern arcade racing template. This is pure highway battle racing, just like Genki used to make, and I hope it serves as a wake-up call to all AAA developers out there. It is likely that this one won't be on sale for a while, but this is one of those rare few games that I think is completely worth full price. Genki should be rewarded for doing such a bang-up job with the game and giving us all what we've been clamoring for all of these years. Now this little gem is a bit different. A unique take on the Trackmania formula, Phantom Spark is all about you, your ship, called a Spark, and the track. A smooth as possible run on each course is required to beat the set times, so it's a damn good thing that the control you have over your ship is as tight can be. Phantom Spark contains 3 environments, or domains as they are known in the game, and each has a champion that gives you times to beat. They'll give you hints on how to best approach each track, and once you've managed to best the time they set for you, you'll be tasked beating their own times. Work your way through each domain, and when you've earned enough points, you'll unlock the next. It really does get addictive. What sets Phantom Spark apart, however, is its style. There's an ancient feel to the proceedings here, with a touch of futurism and an esoteric flair that offers up an atmosphere that is utterly compelling and unique to Phantom Spark alone. The soft but encouraging electronica soundtrack is a bit of a classic here too, and definitely well worth listening to outside of the game. Though mostly a single player experience, there is a local 2-player split screen mode if you get the urge to play it with friends or family. Phantom Spark is a stunning assault on the senses, plays fantastic, and is totally worth buying if you're after something different.
Welcome to the new XR Championship Trial. 3, 2, 1, let's go!
I wrote off Xenon Racer years ago. It's a game seemingly firing on all cylinders, but there was something about the handling and the disconnect with the track design that just didn't sit right with me. As a predominantly third-person view player, the weird inertia of the camera made it difficult to judge corners and drifts, and it just never came together for me. I really should have gone out of my way to press the camera button a couple of times. It's an altogether different proposition with the bonnet cam. Seriously, this is where the drifting makes sense. And here you'll find me retracting my previous statements about the controls, because what is here is sublime. It's a shame that I haven't been able to play more of the game before releasing this video, but I can tell you now it's just jumped straight to the top of my backlog and I'll be diving into it a proper. My Ally X does a decent job of making the game look nice here, but compared to my old gaming rig, it really doesn't compare. Rest easy knowing that if you've got the power, the game is downright stunning. Pair that with a truly exceptional and hard-hitting soundtrack that can really put you in the zone, and Xenon Racer impresses. The game starts out tough and seemingly remains that way, so you won't be breezing through the game in a hurry. There's a good amount of content too, with 27 tracks across 9 locales, 24 cars on offer, and all needing to be unlocked in the main campaign mode. The developer 3D Clouds is very hit and miss for me, but I'm glad I've come around to appreciate Xenon Racer finally. Just remember, play with the bonnet cam. It is most definitely the way to go.
Good outcome. Final lap.
Insane 2 is an underappreciated arcade off-road racer with a lot of content. Races and events take place on open world styled maps. From traditional races to power-up and gate hunts, there's a lot to get through in both single-player and multiplayer modes. Insane 2 features 18 different off-road vehicles with perk upgrades, and 170 races and events over 20 locations. Now I'll be honest, I enjoy the racing portions of the game far more than I do the other events. They're not bad, but I found myself trying to hurry through the non-race events to get to the really good stuff. Graphically, Insane 2 holds up very nicely for a game from 2012. The colour work is off the charts and everything is nicely modelled. There's a lot of visual variety between the different locations too, something I appreciate. Sound is okay, with good effects and average music, but the brilliant arcade handling model is where Insane 2 excels, but this comes with a caveat. Controller support out of the box is iffy. You can choose one of the user-made Steam input profiles that maps the keyboard and mouse controls to the gamepad. This works out pretty well, and it's how I played my first few hours of the game. Unfortunately, while steering is analog here, the gas and brake are not. Much better is to disable Steam input altogether and use a third-party app called X360CE to get full controller support. This requires a little bit of extra work, but if you spend the 5 minutes to set it up correctly, it is flawless. I've left a link down in the description to a Steam discussion page that includes all downloads and a step-by-step guide on how to make it work for you. And once you're set, you'll be treated to one of the most satisfying handling models in an arcade off-road racer to date. Drifting and boosting is just plain fun, and is a large part of the reason I enjoy the racing so much. Insane 2 is not a perfect game, but not every game worth playing has to be. Totally worth the buy. Well, I hope you found some recommendations here that you've not come across before. Links to all of the game's Steam pages below. I dug deep for this one and there's plenty more to come. So if you've got suggestions, leave them in the comments below. And while you're at it, please like, share, subscribe, and perhaps consider becoming a channel member for early access to each video and more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.